Hello and welcome to another episode of They've Been Doing It All Day, Sir. It's grand final week, baby. Let's get stuck in.
How's your week been, mate?
Never mind about my week. Care to explain this ensemble that you've bestowed before us?
Two reasons. First one related to my trip to America over the last week. Went to a wedding, which was in the Catskills Mountains of New York. First off, you turn everywhere you turn, it's like a postcard. Like, it's one of the most stunning places I've been in the world. And on the Friday night, we had a Cowboy themed party. So thought I'd don this, but also for the fact that the Brisbane Broncos defeated the Penrith Panthers.
They did.
I thought, you know what, I'd show a bit of salute to the performance that they put on, and come dressed like I'm about to, ride a horse or something. So
fair play. You gotta respect that. And how's the body feeling after the trip away?
Yeah, body is absolutely struggling, to be honest. Heavy weekend. So couple that with jet lag and getting back into the swing of things. It's been an interesting few days. Landed a couple of days ago, managed to get back into the swing of things. But I must admit, like, one of the best weddings I've ever been to. It was just like everything was well structured, well organised. On the Friday, we stayed at a place called the Urban Cowboy Lodge, so it made sense to have a cowboy theme party on the Friday night before the wedding. Bit of line dancing, bit of a rodeo. It was pretty good. And then Saturday, pre-wedding, we had we went shooting. Went to a gun alley and went shooting. Shot a 308 rifle, and my word, it was the most powerful thing I've ever experienced in my life. But like, the wedding venue, stunning. The surrounding areas, stunning. But it was a heavy couple of days.
Incredible, mate.
Yeah, and to add to that, I know I mentioned about the jet lag and the flying, but wedding was Saturday night and went pretty late. There was a lock-in after party at this place called Ralph's, which was on the site, and then flew home at 2 a.m. on Monday morning. So it was just a struggle. And America is so far away.
It's not close.
It's not.
Well, to be fair, everything is far away from Australia, isn't it, really?
It is, but the way there flew via LA, then to New York, and then way back New York to Tokyo, which is long, and then Tokyo to Sydney, which is also long.
Oh.
Yeah. But how's your week been?
Had a few drinks Saturday in Hornsby. More Watara, to be precise. When it was out with Marshy, the lad I coach with on the defence, had a couple of espresso martinis after spending the morning and early afternoon in Penrith. So, quite close to what you were experiencing, I think, with the with being in America. So definitely living up the glam life like yourself.
One thing I will say is a difference, though, and like, I suppose we won't touch on the Ryder Cup, but Europe won the Ryder Cup, but how they experience the abuse out there. Americans have zero banter. Yeah. Like, it's mad how they just don't understand other cultures. Like, there was a mix of like British people, American people, obviously me from over here, geezer from Finland as well, one of my mates that travelled over from Finland, and they just don't understand like British banter. It's weird, interesting. Whereas at least Aussies pick it up and understand it a bit, but the Americans are just cut different. And I think that showed in the Ryder Cup when they're just absolutely abusing what happened out there. But at least Europe came away with a victory, which is the best thing. Some big news this week, though. A few things that have come out. Rugby 360 has been given the green light.
Yeah. I think you've covered this a bit better than I have. So care to?
So who is it? Michael Shamas released this Instagram post the other day that said details of it, and it's like, starts October next year. City-based franchises, players can decide to live where they want, but city-based franchises, obviously lots of money up for grabs. I think like New York, London, Dubai, Saudi-backed, so there's big money involved. But it's a threat to the NRL. Like, the NRL clubs, I heard this morning, are panicking around kind of what it is, and there's some big names being linked with leaving. So Ryan Pappenhausen being one. He's open to explore contract options, though, from November 1, so it makes sense. But one of the big names that's popped up is Zach Lomax to leave.
Interesting.
How, like, thinking about, you're a big fan of the Eels and their rebuild. What sort of impact might you have on them?
I think it would have more of a mental impact than it would as a more of a cohesion impact than it would anything else. Again, you've seen what big money talks and big money moves can do to clubs. It's a bit of a shame, but I think if it's a case of, I think the lads will understand, and it's a case of let's pull together this season, see where we can get to, and then he's going to be off to make his money.
Yeah, but can he even play next year though? If it starts in October next year.
Yeah, it all depends on what the contract restrictions are going to be and stuff like that. Because clearly you're going to have players coming into it late.
It's going to be huge money.
Yeah, it's going to be some dirty money flying around.
Money that I don't think they'll be able to earn in the NRL. Like if you're pulling Zach Lomax out of a contract, apparently he took a pay cut to go from the Dragons to the Eels. So if he's been shown money that will set him up for life, then
you can't blame him really. So it's like it's. When you have these discussions about offering big money and players chasing money, and you get called a money grabber, but in any situation, in every walk of life, if someone approaches you in your job role and goes, I can offer you another $100,000 a year just out of nowhere, which would be the sort of comparison is going from 120 grand a year to 220 to 250. It's being offered a couple of million a year to being offered a couple of million a week. Like it's stupid.
Sounds a bit like Oscar when he decided to leave Chelsea and go to China just to earn an absolute fortune. But there's a few other names that have been linked as well. Roger Tuivasa-Sheck could be on his way later on in his career. Obviously wants to earn money. Kalen Ponga is a bit of a surprise one. Jai Gray has been linked. So it'd be interesting to hear how they go. But the NRL... Well, Peter V'landys wants to put heavy sanctions in place to deter any player from being able to exit their contract early. But watch your space, because I think also Rugby Australia have said if anyone goes from 2R360, then they won't be eligible to play for the Wallabies. So,
to be fair, again, if you're being offered a couple of million a year.
Yeah, but with a home World Cup coming up.
Yeah, I suppose there is that more of an enticement for them, I suppose.
Yeah, but another thing that happened this week, and I think it happened yesterday, was the Dally M Awards. So James Tedesco walks away Player of the Year. You reckon that's deserved?
Yeah, he's been one of the most consistent players throughout the whole season, hasn't he, really?
Yeah, he has. And he also was named Captain of the Year, Fullback of the Year. So
all gels in, really. If you're winning the Daily M, you should then end up... If you're winning the Daily M and you're the captain of the club, and then you're also you should probably win all three. To be honest.
Yeah, Ricky Stewart walking away with Coach of the Year. I'm on the fence with that one. They couldn't do it when it mattered, but then I suppose over a whole season they did win the minor premiership.
Yeah.
Robert Toyer, Rookie of the Year.
Okay, yeah, I agree with that one.
Yeah, got selected for Origin. Been outstanding. And then Big Marky Mark, Nwangani Tawase, he's everywhere. Apparently getting called up for the Ashes, for the Kangaroos. And then he gets Try of the Year as well for that one. Who was it against? The Broncos, maybe? Or the Storm? I can't remember, but where he was out of bounds and ran back in. So,
yeah, unreal try.
But huge events over the weekend.
Massive.
I think I said last week that I would be getting up and watching these games, but from the festivities that was happening, I didn't manage to watch a single minute of either game. But when I got back, obviously I saw the results of each game, and my word, the first game that we'll talk about, the Broncos against the Panthers, what a game this was. So Broncos obviously come out victors 16-14. Been some absolutely incredible games this year, but I think this one's up there with one of the best. When I was watching it, I watched it earlier today. It had a vibe of like the intensity of that Origin 3 game a couple of years ago. It was phenomenal, but give me your thoughts.
I think this game showed how much of an impact the game coming through finals has on teams. The Panthers just looked dead 10 minutes ago. The Broncos were able to pin them down by their try line, and Brian Tato was even struggling to get momentum when their runs. I don't think they've really had a set that left left the 30 or left the 40 in the last sort of 10 minutes.
And they're making mistakes as well, like they're dropping the ball, knocking it on.
They were shattered.
They still had opportunities though towards the end. I agree with what you're saying. I think what contributes towards that though is the Broncos were solid in defence. I think it was the best defensive performance I've seen from them since I've been watching this sport. But their forwards, the way that they were running the ball, Payne Haas is a joke of a human being.
Yeah.
Kobe Hetherington, when he came on as well, was running the ball hard. Apparently signing for Manly next year as well, which is a great one. Tyson Smoothie, when he came on, was running the ball hard. Xavier Willison was running the ball hard. But one thing I do think that you need sometimes in finals is a little bit of luck. And I think the Broncos certainly got some of that. And like 2 instances when was it Laurie or McLean that got the interception that went all the way the other way, and it was called back for being offside. He was inches offside.
Yeah, that was one of the closest calls I think I've ever seen.
Yeah,
like if you this is the thing, is like, do they need to be behind the line or have a foot on the line? That's the argument they come up with. It needed like a VAR line out.
Yeah.
Like that was a really difficult to be able to.
Like, here's one for you on that. Do you let it play through, let him score,
and then
review it? I don't know whether
I think. But this is the. Oh, it's such a difficult point because they don't have really the technology to be able to call it offside, because you've got at that angle. You need something else to help out and see where they are in line, because angles can be very deceptive.
Well, I suppose though, if he was within the 10 metre line, he would have to have been on the goal line, which I think is where it was. I can't be 100% sure. That there might have been 1 metre out from the 10 and then he didn't get back from that. But it is so difficult. But that was one stroke of luck. And then for when the Broncos are attacking, Nathan Cleary jumps in front of a pass and it's like fired straight. I think Ben Hunt fired it straight into his chest, bounces off his chest, and then Willison is there just to pick it up and go over, like big man with football, just runs over the line and dives over.
Yeah, they had that little shift of luck, to be fair to them.
And they're like two instances of luck. And then you think about how clinical Penrith usually are with their 2-point conversions. They just looked out of sorts on that last drive when... I don't even know who it was. Was it Moses Leota or Papali that had to throw like a ball 40 metres back to try and get it?
But this was something I was actually thinking about. Why didn't they just turn and kick it to him?
And then he catches it.
Catches it and then kicks it again, because the kicker's gone backwards.
Yeah.
So Cleary wouldn't have been offside.
Or do you... Yeah, that's very true. Who knows? But...
Because I was thinking, can you do that as a mode of passing? Is kick it to someone.
Talking of Cleary's kicks, right? Now, what is it? Early in the second half, Cleary boots the ball and Mam absolutely wallops him.
I don't know how that's not a penalty.
Like, we'll get on to refereeing performance, and thankfully Grant Atkinson has been named the referee for the final. But to me, like, you're right, the melee that happened after, I was happy that no one got sent to the bin after that.
Yeah, that was well refed.
But it just felt like that was a penalty. Like, we talk about protecting the kicker all the time.
Yeah.
And there's been penalties for softer.
Yeah. That's like the Broncos ended up beating the Raiders because of a incident very much similar to that.
Yeah.
And it was because he ran through the leg instead of hitting him. And the timing was just like simultaneous. Like, I don't understand how they got away with that.
No.
I do like how they ref the melee. I've just gone, boys, no need for it. But no, that should have been a penalty.
And consistency is the problem. Like, we talk about consistency all year. If you look at that any other time, any other game, Nathan Cleary gets a penalty for that. And like, all right, may not have had an overall impact on the game, but still it's a turning point where Penrith would have been down on the 10 or 20 and starting from there.
Yeah. And one of the points I think we discussed, actually, we texted about, was I think Maguire's harsh training regime is starting to show why it's so important.
Yes.
Because the Broncos looked like they could have played another 50 minutes. Like they looked up for it and they looked fit. And I think that's really helped in the back end of the season, because I was looking at it earlier. Since their loss to Manly, the 30-odd 14 or whatever it was, they've had 14 games since then.
Yeah.
They've lost 2, won 12. They lost to the Eels by a point and then got done in by the Storm 22-2. But then they also then beat the Storm within that run. And that's the reason why they're in the finals. And they've gone to the death, been able to go to the death against the Raiders, beat them at the death, granted by a little bit of luck, I suppose. But then play such a hard physical game against the Panthers, out-physical them, and then just that momentum building, were just able to capitalise when the Panthers just were like out of gas.
Obviously, I watched this knowing the result. So I'm thinking at half-time, how did Penrith lose this game? And the Broncos just stepped it up in the second half, though. Like, that second half performance from the Broncos defensively was absolutely phenomenal. Like, they were just stopping absolutely everything. There were times when Penrith were down on their goal line and they were stopping them and stopping them and stopping them. And that adds to like why the Panthers were so knackered. But one of the other reasons I reckon why they were tired is losing Sorensen early on.
Yeah, that's big.
Reece Walsh ran hard on that run and then it was friendly fire, takes him out. But losing a forward that early
has a massive impact.
Then the rest have to have bigger minutes, and coming up against a forward pack like the Broncos, especially the way Haas was running the ball in the second half. Like
he was an animal.
He was a man possessed, and like even he goes down with cramp with 10 minutes to go, and he still puts that in that that phenomenal effort to chase down Cleary from 30 odd meters away to put pressure on him that he needs to get rid of the ball to Edwards. He is a anomaly. He's a physical anomaly.
Manly throw money at him.
Yeah, can you imagine? Can you imagine if just somehow he completes the lot by winning it with the Broncos, and he goes, I fancy a trip back home, and then he signs for Manly.
Yeah,
be absolutely ridiculous. But what do you reckon this does for Penrith next season?
Absolutely nothing. They've got a carousel of unbelievable players. Yeah. Players are slotting in, starting to find their feet. They'll be back stronger next year.
The worrying thing is, like, for the first 12 games of the season, obviously bottom of the ladder.
Yeah.
I reckon they're finding their feet. Like, they had players like McLean, Tulagi coming in, people that just hadn't played together. And then I think games 12 to now showed what Penrith are going to be like next year. Like, they could have and probably should have won that game. They had opportunities to ice it at times where they could have kicked points, and they decided to go for it, and they ended up fumbling it. And it's instances like that where you think, hang on,
could you have gone away? Could it have? But nah, they were, as I said, they were dead on the feet. You could just tell.
But Panthers ain't going anywhere anytime soon. And I know we've thrown shade at Reece Walsh a lot. But
like we said early on, the reason why we throw so much shade at him because we understand how good of a player he actually is.
He's a joke,
and we can have I think we hold him at such a high standard. I don't think it helps he plays for the Broncos and and Queensland, and we're not that inclined to both those teams. But he is showing why there is just all this talk around him.
Yeah,
his feet are ridiculous.
But he's wearing those green boots as well, and you can just see how quickly he cuts. As well is a joke. But hilariously, before the game on social media, I think I saw something like, the Panthers are done for. He was drinking out of a cup that was as a toilet, and it was like. But on to the next game. The Storm 22 defeat the Sharks 14. I only watched the highlights of this one. But Jerome Hughes being named and playing soldier.
Yeah, he was unreal in this game. He marshalled the team on. Like he was brilliant throughout all of it. He was creating so many chances. His kicking game was brilliant.
Munster was a joke as well. Both of them together.
Again, Munster, he can just shift so quickly. He's him coming off the base of a ruck. He's just so lively. He's so difficult to defend against.
Yeah, sometimes picks the ball quick, runs. Yeah, creates trouble. Knows when to kick the ball. Like there was one point where I think Kennedy shot up from the back for that. Was it the Pappenhausen try? Yeah. He just dinks it through, knowing that he's seen that, and he has a split second to react, and he puts it through, and Pappenhausen goes and scores. And you know what? Like, it's going to be an interesting. We'll get on to the final in a minute. But Hughes and his injury, there was a point early in the game. I saw it on the highlights. It's probably the only point they showed where Coates kicks it through, Trindle picks it up in the dead ball area, and kind of like Hughes slides on his arm. And he got up like so slow. So be interesting to see how he goes in the final because I heard someone talk about like the impact of injury earlier. Like you go back one game and you're all adrenaline, you're high, but you know how it feels and you know how it feels after. Now, all right, it's a final, but did you guard it a bit more in the final?
No, I think the final would be more of a nutcase. I think it would be on some strong stuff as well to not really feel anything in there.
Yeah, the Sharks were definitely targeting him though. They left a few hits in late. Be interesting to see if the Broncos do a similar thing.
My honest opinion is of this game. I think the Sharks lost it. Not the Sharks. Yeah, the Sharks lost this game in the sense of they had the chances to win it. Like the Sharks team that were blundering through the season showed up in this game. Like Nico Hines making mistakes in their tenure in the red zone, attacking, knocking the ball on when they've got a strong set ahead of them. Just things like that crept in this game for the Sharks, and the Storm were there for the taking. Yeah, the Sharks had the ability to beat them. It's just I think the Storm's experience outweighed the Sharks in this game.
Well, yeah, I think for me the Sharks had a great season. Like to win, what was it, 9 in a row, finishing the top. No, sorry, they finished 5th, didn't they? But then to get to where they did, I think that was their limit. Like I couldn't see them making the final just based off of they do have that tendency in them to not perform well, especially Nico Hines. They, like you say, they did have their chances. I can't remember who it was, went over at the end, near the end, and was held up by Pappenhausen and Munster.
Oh, that was an incredible tackle.
Even though it got done for a high shot from Pappenhausen, like what's he meant to do? But like if that happens and the Sharks score the first try, like yes, they scored the first points, 2 points after half time, but if they score the first try after half time, we might be having a different conversation as to who's in the final now. Yeah. But the refereeing performance of Ashley Klein, like a lot of people have mentioned it, in the first half, there was only 22 minutes of play, 18 penalties.
Mr. All About Me.
Exactly. And thankfully, he's been dropped for the final. Like we've mentioned it quite a few times. But I just read the officials and he's on bunker duty. So.
Oh, brilliant. He'll find a way to make it about him.
Yeah, of course he will. And that's the worrying thing, even from the bunker. Yeah. I think you're able to do that. But Melbourne's defence, solid. But I suppose we'll talk about this in a second. Like, is it good enough to beat the Broncos? Did the Broncos fire on all cylinders against the Panthers? Like Broncos look great defensively. They didn't look great with the ball. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see. So moving on to the grand final. One thing that got raised earlier actually is about grand finals being played during the day. Now Sunday is meant to be a stinking hot day. Yeah. What's it going to be? 28, 30 degrees, something like that. Warm. So you're kind of you're bringing the weather into the final there. But the point that was raised earlier was about by having a kickoff at 8 o'clock, you're kind of excluding the younger audience from being able to watch the grand final kicking off at 8. Yeah,
and it I don't see an issue with it being in the day. I think like a nice 4 o'clock kickoff would be really good. The only issue I've got it with being very warm is because a couple of years ago when we were at the final, I think it was like 33 degrees, and there was a waft. There was a smell that was going around that ground. I
think in the second half, if I remember rightly, the temperature just dropped. It was like relief.
But it stank, like 80,000 bodies in one area. It was not nice. So hopefully we don't have the same experience again this year.
Hopefully. But we'll be heading out there. The NRLW finals on before as well.
Oh,
so
awesome.
Might have to get out and go and watch that. Yep. If not, catch the second half. See
Roosters? Is it Roosters?
Yeah, Roosters.
Sharks?
Sharks, yeah, potentially.
That's Roosters. I think the Roosters.
No, it's not the Sharks because I remember hearing earlier that the Roosters are the only representative for New South Wales in the. They're doing it for New South Wales. So Broncos, yeah. Broncos. Double finalists. We've mentioned Jerome Hughes before in his injury, but how do you reckon he'll go?
I was just about to say we'll be up against bigger bodies, but I reckon the Sharks are bigger. But I think it'll be magical. I think he'll do well. He'll do well in it. I don't think he's going to let it hold him back. I think he's going to be creative. I just think yeah, I just think the Broncos may just have that little bit of an edge over them personally.
We'll get on to who we're going to pick in a second. But talking to the Broncos, obviously last time they were in the final was 2023.
Yep.
We were at that final.
We were.
Probably the best comeback I've ever seen in my life. How do you reckon, what's their mentality going into it, like, because of 2023?
I think you'll always have that in the back of your mind.
Yeah.
But I think they've got the ability, especially on the run that they're on.
And what they've done, they've come from behind quite a few times.
And they've got a lot of boys in there who were in that Origin team who were supposedly down and out and were able to build it. And as you said, the last couple of games where against the Raiders, they were down and out. 18 points they were down. Again, with the Panthers last week, I think they've got it in them now. I think it's been installed for them to be able to progress through and not worry about that anymore.
And you think back, 2 years ago, they've had 50 games.
Yeah. 50
more games as a team since then. Like, a fair few players have still remained from that. They lost a couple. But let's say they get up early and then after half time,
I think their foot won't leave the throttle.
Storm get one.
Nah.
Then get another one.
I think I'm gonna go bold here. If Broncos end up scoring like they did in the first half against the Panthers, I reckon it could be a repeat of the Manly Storm final. And it could be about 40 odd because I don't see them stopping. I think especially this Broncos team are so dangerous when they've got momentum behind them, and we've seen it all season. Like you saw it in the last half of the last 20 minutes of the Panthers game. They looked like they were going to score.
They did look very good and were constantly on it, and like they've got some huge bodies. But we mentioned about the refereeing, like Grant Atkinson's been named as the referee, which is good. But when the Broncos and Storm played in round 27, there was some interesting tactics that the Broncos used to stop Xavier Coates. Basically, Katoni Staggs was just holding him, and it wasn't called. And I wonder how that's going to be refereed in this game.
I think there'll be reviews on it because refs review their previous games and stuff and what's gone on to find intricacies like that. So I think if it happens once, it'll get called early and it'll be like, no, Staggs, we know what you're onto. So that could have a big factor in calling those sort of things early.
Yeah, I think so. And was it Mam that got done a couple of times for shepherding?
Yes, he did against the Panthers.
Yeah, so they'll be watching it, and they know there's a few with a bit of history, but there's some class matchups.
Yeah, there's some big matchups.
You look at the props. You got Payne Haas and Carrigan, who's coming back fresh.
Yeah.
Patty Carrigan has had a week off and is going to be absolutely fresh.
Yep.
Then you got Atoya Kamano, who was running so hard against the Sharks, running people over. Josh King. Like, there's just some heavy runners, heavy hitters that are going to be phenomenal. Walsh versus Pappenhausen, both in great form. Walsh's playoff form has been incredible. Pappenhausen just seems to be able to get something out of nothing. And then in the halves, you've got Munster and Hughes, and then you've got Reynolds and Hunt
on the redemption trail.
They're on the redemption arc. Like, what, Reynolds 2021 missed, and this got shown about 20 times, but missed the conversion for the Rabbitohs in the same stadium, the Suncorp. It was being played up there because of COVID in the grand final. And then the big one, Ben Hunt, 2015, drops the boys. We did drop the boys because he dropped the ball, and Jonathan Thurston then slotted it over. But I think it's going to be a hell of a game.
It's going to be unreal.
I think the atmosphere is going to be electric. I'm hoping that the Broncos fans bring the energy that they did at the Suncorp, because that was bouncing. But I suppose, you know what, for one last time, we'll go.
Let's get stuck in.
Yeah, so Sunday night, 7:30 p.m. kickoff at the Accor. The ground conditions are good. The weather is fine. We have the Melbourne Storm at $1.74 against the Brisbane Broncos, $2.10. Where's your money going?
My money is going on the Brisbane Broncos. I'm backing them to win their first NRL in 19 years or whatever it is. They just like I said, I think their momentum and their stamina are going to be a massive part in this game.
Yeah.
I reckon they could play comfortably for over 100 minutes and still be playing at a top level. And I think that's what's going to be a massive difference maker in this game. I think their forwards in Payne Haas, I just don't think the Storm are going to be able to deal with him. And if he can play like that, if he's opening up gaps and letting Walsh scream through, it's going to be a scary defense, a scary attack to try and stop.
Yeah. Another reason why I decided to dress like a cowboy as well is because I also do think that the Brisbane Broncos are going to be crowned NRL Premiership champions on Sunday night. I think the power they have in the middle, with Paddy Carrigan coming back fresh, Payne Haas, I think they're going to control the middle. I think the forwards are going to control the game, which then, like you say, tires out the middles, allows them to either run through the middle, then can go around the outside. I think that Ben Hunt, Adam Reynolds are going to have a bit of a day of it. Reece Walsh is going to turn up. I just think the maturity of how he's developed and this playoff run and how he's been through this playoff run, I think he's going to have a great game. And I think their experience of coming from behind in the last few games, the mentality they've had to stick in there and just find another gear and go up. I reckon the Brisbane Broncos are going to be crowned champions. But score prediction, what do you reckon it's going to be?
Ooh. I'm going to go 35-20.
Oh, you're going high scoring.
I reckon it's going to be a big scoring game.
I reckon it's going to be lower scoring than that. I'm going to go for like a 24-20.
Okay.
In Brisbane's favour. Do you know one thing I was thinking earlier as well when I was watching the highlights? I think that goal kicking is going to have a big impact on this game. Adam Reynolds, like I know Reece Walsh obviously was kicking, missed one, and then Adam Reynolds took over for that last one. I think Reynolds would be kicking all of that. Was it because his hamstring or something that he wasn't kicking? But you look at the Storms.
Pappenhausen as well, hasn't he?
Well, Pappenhausen wasn't good. Meany as well, kicking like he's not good from the right touch line. So I don't know. I think there could be a few conversions that if the Broncos go 6 or 5 conversions, 4 conversions, 4 tries, I reckon they can beat the Storm in this one. But the big one as well, who walks away as the man of the match, the Clive Churchill medal winner?
I reckon it's going to be around Payne Haas's neck. I've just got a feeling it's going to be a big Payne Haas.
Yeah, I reckon he has a field day. I could also see a world where Cam Munster wins it on a losing side. Like he could have like a huge game, but
not mad at that.
Not walkout winner, but if he doesn't win it, I think Payne Haas wins it.
Yeah.
Let's think about some other ones as well then. First try scorer, who are you going with?
I'm going to go Tony Staggs.
Oh, he took the words right out of my mouth. I reckon he's going to be first try scorer as well. Who do you reckon is going to be top point scorer? It'd be it's got to be one of the kickers, really, doesn't it? I reckon Reynolds. I don't know. I reckon he might. Let's say he converts 4. That's 8 points.
Yeah.
Is anyone getting 2 tries? Does Coates get
a couple of tries?
2 tries?
Yeah,
I don't know. That's an interesting one. But the line's 2.5. So in the Storm's favour, we both said the Broncos will win. I reckon they'll win by more than 2.5. So they'll cover that. But what a game we're in for.
Yeah, really looking forward to it.
Yeah, so make sure you hit that subscribe button to hear our reaction next week. We might take a few video clips as well and post them up as short. So follow along, hit that subscribe button, give this episode a like as well. Helps us out, gets us in front of a new audience.
Exactly.
But on to let's take a little move sideways. Let's take a little divert. The England Ashes squad was announced.
It was
earlier this week, and England have gone with a pacey.
Yeah, there's a lot of pace. You have to down here though.
Yeah,
you have to. And with you've got Atkinson, Wood, Archer. If they're all fit, they're all bowlers that can flirt around 90 on a regular basis.
Josh Tongue don't hang about. Cast don't hang about.
Yeah. The only thing I worry about is the spin option.
Yes.
In Bashir, I think he's going to get tonked all over the place.
And Will Jacks is a part-time spinner as well, isn't he?
But again, I think you know what you're going to get from the batting. I think there's going to be some wickets that really suit England's batting, and it can be very aggressive. I reckon this selection is what everyone would have probably guessed.
Yeah,
as it is predicting through that series against India.
Yeah, and you've still got Wood, Archer, and Stokes recovering from injuries as well. So it'd be you're touching wood that they're ready in time.
Ready to go, yeah.
But what are we, 2 months away from that?
Well, not even that. About a month and a bit away now.
Oh yeah, 6 weeks, November the 21st, isn't it?
Ooh,
so that's going to be absolutely class. I'm going back to America before that as well. I've got my sister's wedding.
Oh, good.
In Florida before we go. But another thing, moving lanes again to another sport. You predicted it.
Yes, the girls.
England's women walk out world champions, beating Canada 33-13.
Yeah, absolute dominating performance. Third time they've won it now, England. Incredible stuff. I've seen a lot of videos of them celebrating as well. They look like they've had a great time.
So when they walked out and saw the O2 bus with world champions on it, they all looked like they'd had
a couple. I think they still had gin and tonics in their hands. I absolutely love that.
Fair
all for
few Stellas.
Incredible performance. They just dominated all over the park. They are such a great team to watch when they get flown, England. As I said, Hannah Bottom was leading from the front. You've got Ellie Kildare at the back as well. Like you've just got some unbelievable talent, and it looked like it was the highest ever attended women's game, I think, as well, with 80,000.
82,000 at
incredible stuff.
Only beaten by the 2003 Rugby World Cup final where England won it out at Homebush.
It was just a great, and it was great to see that the attendance was there throughout the whole day, because I think they had the third versus third place game match on before.
Well, yeah, New Zealand were involved in that, weren't they?
New Zealand won, and there was about 50,000 in the stadium then to watch that, and it's just great to see how much of a great spectacle of rugby it was as well, and everyone joined to win it. So yeah, great achievement for the girls.
Talking of Rugby World Cup, actually, I got an email yesterday about the super fan pass for 2027 mapping out when I get access to my tickets. Bonkers.
Scary stuff.
How I got one of them, I do not know.
Not a clue.
Well, that's it. The NRL season is coming to a close on Sunday. The grand final is upon us. Hit that like and subscribe button to hear our reactions from the fixtures over the weekend. But thanks for listening to this episode, and we will see you next week. Catch you in the next one.
Have a great week.